The hallway of the Merrow County Courthouse is a river of misery, flowing between walls the color of old mustard. Its current is slow, sluggish, thick with the scent of cheap disinfectant and despair. People drift along its banks, their faces drawn, their hopes worn thin as the linoleum beneath their feet. This river is ruled by a troll. His name is Officer Dale Corman, and the bridge he guards is the metal detector at the courthouse entrance. Corman is a man carved from spoiled lard and petty authority. His uniform, a shade of navy blue that has surrendered to countless washings, is stretched taut over a belly that speaks of donuts and disdain. His face is a fleshy mask of permanent irritation, a roadmap of broken capillaries charting a course from his bulbous nose to his fleshy earlobes. He stands not as a guardian of the peace, but as a gatekeeper to a kingdom he believes is his own. His throne is a worn wooden stool. His scepter is a hand-held security wand. His crown is the glint of contempt in his small, piggish eyes. Every person who passes is a subject to be judged, weighed, and found wanting. He sees the fear in their eyes and mistakes it for respect. He feeds on it. Today, his gaze falls upon a new subject. A boy. Leo Thorne is 17, but today he looks 12. He is a slip of a thing, all sharp angles and nervous energy, drowning in a suit borrowed from his father. The jacket hangs off his shoulders, the sleeves are an inch too long, and the knot on his tie is a lopsided lump of anxiety. He clutches a worn file folder to his chest like a shield. Inside are papers that mean nothing and everything. A summons. A charge. A misunderstanding blown into a felony by a system that does not care for context. Wrong place, wrong time. A friend's stupid mistake. Now Leo stands here, alone, waiting for a public defender he has never met. Corman watches him from his stool. He sees the boy's dark skin, the carefully picked-out afro, the cheap leather shoes scuffing the floor. He sees a category, not a person. A statistic, not a son. A target. Corman levers himself off the stool, the wood groaning in protest. He ambles over to Leo, his footsteps heavy, deliberate. Each one a drumbeat of intimidation. You lost, boy. His voice is a gravelly sneer. Leo flinches. He looks up, his eyes wide and uncertain. He opens his mouth to speak, but the words get stuck. A dam of fear holds them back. I'm HH here for. The stutter is not a part of him. It is a visitor, an unwelcome guest that arrives only when fear and pressure build to an unbearable peak. Today, the pressure is crushing. Corman's lips curl into a smirk. It is a small, ugly thing. He has found a weakness. A crack in the armor. What's that? Cat got your tongue. Corman leans in closer, invading the boy's space, his breath a foul mix of stale coffee and malice. Or you just learned to talk like that from all the rap music. Leo's face flushes with a heat that has nothing to do with the stuffy hallway. It is the heat of shame. Of humiliation. He tries again, forcing the words out. I'm meeting my LL lawyer. Corman lets out a short, barking laugh. Your lawyer? You mean the public pretender? Good luck with that. He straightens up, casting a look around the hallway, making sure he has an audience for his little show. A few people glance over, then quickly look away, not wanting to be drawn into the troll's orbit. Their silence is a form of permission. Corman turns his attention back to Leo. He taps the boy's file folder with a thick, sausage-like finger. What did you do, huh? Boost a car? Shoplift some sneakers? No, sir. It's a mistake. A mistake, Corman repeats, drawing the words out, savoring them. They all say that. Every single one of you. The you hangs in the air, heavy and loaded. Leo shrinks into himself, trying to make himself smaller, invisible. But Corman is not finished. He is just warming up. A woman in a cheap suit, her face etched with exhaustion, approaches them. This is Sarah Jenkins, the public defender. She is young, barely 30, and the courthouse has already worn her down to a nub. She carries a stack of files that seems to weigh more than she does. Leo Thorne, she asks, her voice thin. Leo nods, a wave of relief washing over him. He is no longer alone. I'm Sarah Jenkins. Sorry I'm late. Judge Thompson's docket is a nightmare today. Corman steps between them, physically blocking the lawyer from her client. Well, if it isn't the cavalry, he sneers. Come to save this one from the gallows. Sarah Jenkins sighs. She has this dance with Corman every day. Officer, please. I need to speak with my client. Your client, Corman says, looking Leo up and down with theatrical disgust. This one was just telling me all about his mistake. He mimics the stutter. Cruelly. Loudly. The sound echoes in the hallway. A few people gasp. Others just shake their heads and hurry past. Leo's face crumbles. The shield of the file folder is not enough. The humiliation is a physical blow, knocking the air from his lungs. Tears well in his eyes, hot and stinging. Sarah Jenkins's spine stiffens. A flicker of defiance sparks in her tired eyes. That is completely inappropriate, Officer Corman. Inappropriate. Corman laughs, a full-throated roar this time. I'm just having a conversation. Or is he too good to talk to courthouse security now that his high-powered lawyer is here? He turns back to Leo, his face inches from the boys. So, what is it? You can't TT talk, or you won't TT talk. This is the peak. The summit of his cruelty. The boy is broken, the lawyer is powerless, and the hallway is a silent testament to his dominion. He has won. He thinks he has won. But Dale Corman has just made the biggest mistake of his miserable career. He just does not know it yet. Because across the hallway, leaning against the opposite wall, a man has been watching. He is invisible. Not in a literal sense, but in the way a man who does not want to be seen can blend into the background. He wears simple gray slacks, a plain black polo shirt, and comfortable-looking shoes. He could be a juror, a witness, a family member. He is just another face in the river of misery. He has been standing there for 10 minutes, perfectly still, his presence as unassuming as a water fountain. His eyes, however, are not still. They are chips of obsidian, hard and sharp, and they have missed nothing. They saw the moment Corman targeted the boy. They saw the sneer, the invasion of space, the casual racism. They saw the boy's shame, the lawyer's helplessness. They saw and they recorded. Every word. Every nuance. Every flicker of malice. This man is Marcus Thorne. And the boy being tormented is his son. Marcus feels a cold fury building in his chest. It is not a hot, explosive anger. It is a glacier. Slow, immense, and unstoppable. He had told Leo to meet the public defender here, to go through the process, to see the system as it is. Marcus was supposed to meet them in the courtroom. But a father's instinct had told him to come early. To watch from a distance. He needed to see what his son would face alone. Now he knows. He pushes himself off the wall. The movement is fluid, economical. Not a single wasted motion. He starts walking toward the little drama Corman is directing. His footsteps make no sound on the worn linoleum. He moves with a purpose that parts the crowd without him ever touching a soul. Sarah Jenkins is trying to push back, but her words are like pebbles against a fortress. I am asking you to step away and let me confer with my client in private. That is his constitutional right. Rights. Corman scoffs. He's got the right to remain silent. I suggest he use it. Might help with the SSS. He does not get to finish the word. A hand lands on his shoulder. The hand is not heavy, but it has a weight that goes beyond mere muscle. It is a weight of absolute, unshakable authority. Corman freezes. He turns, his face contorting in annoyance, ready to berate whoever dared to touch him. He sees the man in the black polo shirt. Can I help you? Corman snaps, shaking the hand off. This is official business. Get back. Marcus Thorne does not move. His obsidian eyes are locked on Corman. They are not angry. They are worse. They are assessing. Calculating. You are Officer Dale Corman, badge number 714, Marcus says. His voice is calm, quiet, yet it cuts through the hallway's low hum like a surgeon's scalpel. Corman is taken aback. Yeah. Who's asking? You've been employed by the Merrow County Sheriff's Department for 12 years, assigned to courthouse security for the last 8. The information is delivered as a statement of fact, not a question. Corman's bravado flickers. How do you know that? Are you some kind of lawyer? I'm Leo's father, Marcus says simply. A wave of relief washes over Corman's face, replaced by an even deeper level of contempt. Oh, you're his daddy. Finally decided to show up? You need to teach your boy some manners. And how to speak properly. He turns to Leo, a triumphant smirk back on his face. See. Daddy's here to save the day. Marcus takes a small step forward. I heard you mocking my son Stutter. Heard what you heard, Corman says, crossing his arms over his barrel chest. He feels his power returning. This is just some deadbeat dad. This is a courthouse. We expect people to conduct themselves with a little respect. And what you did, was that respectful? Marcus asks, his voice still unnervingly calm. I'm an officer of the court. I'll conduct myself how I see fit, Corman puffs out his chest. Now, I suggest you and your boy and his cut-rate lawyer find a corner somewhere before I decide to add obstructing an officer to his list of charges. He has gone too far. He has threatened the cub in front of the lion. Marcus glances at his son. He sees the tear tracks on his cheeks, the utter despair in his eyes. The glacier inside Marcus begins to move. He looks back at Corman. Officer Corman, Marcus says, his voice dropping half an octave, becoming colder, harder. You have the right to remain silent. Corman blinks. What did you just say to me? You are being detained for questioning in a federal investigation. The words hang in the air, nonsensical. A joke. Corman lets out a loud, derisive laugh. A federal investigation. Of what? Are you insane? Who the hell do you think you are? Marcus does not answer with words. He reaches into the waistband of his slacks, behind his back. He pulls out a small leather wallet. He flips it open. Inside, nestled in the worn leather, is a badge. It is not a county sheriff's badge. It is not a city police badge. It is heavy, intricate, and gleaming under the fluorescent lights. An eagle with its wings spread wide, a star at its center. United States Marshal. The silence in the hallway becomes absolute. It is as if a vacuum has sucked all the sound, all the air, out of the space. The river of misery has frozen solid. Dale Corman stares at the badge. His brain struggles to process what his eyes are seeing. The man in the cheap polo shirt. The quiet father. The federal marshal. The three images refuse to merge. His face, which had been a mask of smug arrogance, begins to collapse. The color drains from it, leaving behind a pasty, mottled gray. His jaw goes slack. A fine sheen of sweat erupts on his forehead. You, he stammers, the irony lost on him. You can't be. Thorne, Marcus says, his voice like stone. Deputy United States Marshal Marcus Thorne. And you, Officer Corman, are the subject of an ongoing investigation into civil rights violations under color of authority. Sarah Jenkins, the public defender, lets out a small, audible gasp. Her stack of files slips from her grasp, papers scattering across the floor. She does not notice. Leo stares at his father. He has seen the badge before, of course, locked in a case on his father's dresser. But he has never seen it used like this. He has never seen this version of his father. This man is not just a dad. This is someone else entirely. A figure of immense, terrifying power. The power dynamic in the hallway has not just shifted. It has been annihilated. Corman's little kingdom has been invaded by an emperor. His tin crown is melting on his head. This is a mistake, Corman sputters, his own words from moments ago now tasting like ash in his mouth. A misunderstanding. There is no misunderstanding, Marcus says. He puts the badge away. The gesture is casual, but it feels like a judge slamming a gavel. I have your voice, Officer Corman. On a federally authorized recording. He taps a small, almost invisible device in his ear. Every word you said to my son. The racial slurs. The mockery of his speech impediment. Your threats to add false charges. Corman's eyes dart around, looking for an escape, for an ally. But the other court officers who were laughing with him moments ago are now looking at their shoes, at the ceiling, anywhere but at him. They are edging away, creating a quarantine zone around him. His fellow trolls are abandoning the bridge. I was just joking, Corman pleads, his voice a pathetic whine. Just trying to lighten the mood. Lighten the mood. Marcus repeats, his voice laced with ice. You humiliated a 17-year-old boy who was here for a traffic violation. You intimidated his legal counsel. You abused the authority this county vested in you to terrorize the very people you are sworn to protect. Marcus takes a step closer. Corman instinctively takes a step back, bumping into the wall. He is trapped. Let's talk about your authority, Officer Corman. For 8 years, you have run this hallway like your own personal fiefdom. You shake down the vending machine guy for free snacks. You take tips from defense attorneys to let their clients bypass the line. You lose evidence in minor cases for your friends. Corman's face goes from pale to ghostly white. This is not just about mocking a kid. This is about everything. How? How could you know that? He whispers. Because my investigation wasn't about you, Marcus says, his voice devoid of any emotion. You were never important enough to be the target. You're just a symptom of the disease festering in this building. He gestures around the hallway. The investigation is about judicial corruption. Bribery. Case fixing. All happening under the nose of men like you, who are either too stupid to see it, or too complicit to care. Marcus's gaze sweeps over the other officers, who flinch as if struck. But in your arrogance, he continues, his eyes locking back onto Corman, you made yourself a liability. You became loud. You became sloppy. You drew attention. He looks at his son, Leo, and then back at Corman. A flicker of pure, fatherly rage finally breaks through the icy calm. And then you put your hands on my family. 2 more figures appear at the end of the hallway. They are dressed in sharp, dark suits. They move with the same silent, efficient purpose as Marcus. They are also marshals. The trap is sprung. That's a lie. Corman suddenly shouts, a cornered animal finding a last burst of desperate aggression. You have no proof. You can't do this. I have a union. Your union representative is already speaking with the U.S. Attorney's office, the first new marshal says as he approaches. He holds up a tablet. As for proof. He taps the screen. A video begins to play. It is high-definition footage, shot from a small, hidden camera mounted near the ceiling. The audio is crystal clear. The hallway watches itself on the screen. They see Corman on his stool. They see Leo arrive. They hear every word. What's that? Cat got your tongue. Or you just learned to talk like that from all the rap music. The recorded voice is smug, ugly. Hearing it played back, stripped of the moment's power, reveals it for what it is, the pathetic bullying of a sad, broken man. The video continues. You can't TT talk, or you won't TT talk. Corman flinches as his own cruel mimicry fills the air. He looks around at the faces of the public, his colleagues, his victims. He sees nothing but disgust and contempt. The very emotions he weaponized are now turned against him. The marshal stops the video. That's from one of 6 cameras we have monitoring this area, he says conversationally. We have over 400 hours of footage. You feature prominently, Officer Corman. The systematic dismantling is complete. The foundation of his world has been pulverized into dust. Corman shatters. No, he whimpers, shaking his head. No, no, no. This is entrapment. You set me up. We didn't set you up, Dale, Marcus says, using his first name for the first time, a final act of stripping him of his title, of his power. We just gave you the stage. You wrote the script, you directed the play, and you gave the performance of a lifetime. He nods to the other marshals. He's all yours. One of the marshals produces a pair of handcuffs. Not the standard police issue cuffs that Corman carries on his own belt. These are heavier, federal issue. Corman shrinks against the wall. Please, he begs, his voice cracking. I have a family. A mortgage. Marcus stares at him, his face a granite mask. My son has a stutter. It gets worse when he's under stress. He was supposed to give a presentation in his history class next week, a presentation he's been practicing for a month. He was terrified of it. Now, because of you, he may never speak in front of a crowd again. Marcus leans in close, his voice a low whisper for Corman's ears only. You worry about your mortgage. I'll worry about my son. The difference is, my son is innocent. The marshal steps forward and grabs Corman's arm, pulling it behind his back with practiced ease. Dale Corman, you are under arrest for. The charges are read. Conspiracy to obstruct justice. Perjury. Multiple counts of civil rights violations. The click of the handcuffs is the loudest sound the hallway has ever heard. It is the sound of a kingdom falling. It is the sound of justice. They pull Dale Corman away from the wall. He stumbles, his legs suddenly unable to support his bulk. His face is a mess of tears and sweat and disbelief. The troll has been dragged out from under his bridge, blinking in the harsh, unforgiving light. As they lead him down the hall, past the stunned faces of the people he once terrorized, Marcus speaks one last time, his voice carrying clearly through the frozen air. By the way, Dale. The charge against my son. It was for an overdue library book. The felony was a clerical error. He pauses, letting the final, absurd nail hammer into Corman's coffin. I needed to see how your system treats a boy like him over nothing. I needed the world to see how you treat people when you think they have no 1 inch. The public humiliation is absolute. It is a cleansing fire in the fetid hallway. Marcus turns and walks to his son. He places a hand on Leo's shoulder, the same way he had placed it on Corman's. But this touch is different. It is gentle, grounding. Are you okay? He asks, his voice now stripped of all its cold authority, filled only with the warmth of a father. Leo can only nod, the tears finally flowing freely, washing away the shame and replacing it with a dizzying mix of shock and awe. Sarah Jenkins, the public defender, is slowly picking up her scattered papers, her hands shaking. Marcus walks over to her. Ma'am. I believe these are yours. He kneels down to help her, a United States Marshal on his knees on the dirty courthouse floor. I don't know what to say, she stammers. Say you'll accept a new position, Marcus says, handing her a stack of papers. The Department of Justice is funding a new public integrity unit for this district. It's going to need a lead attorney. Someone who isn't afraid to stand up to bullies. He stands up and offers her a hand. She takes it, and he helps her to her feet. For the first time all day, Sarah Jenkins smiles. A real, genuine smile. The fallout is not a storm. It is a controlled demolition. The arrest of Dale Corman is merely the first brick to fall from a rotten facade. The federal investigation, codenamed Operation Broken Gavel, unrolls with brutal efficiency. The 400 hours of video and audio from the courthouse hallway are a treasure trove of corruption, a detailed ledger of the building's sins. Dale Corman, stripped of his bravado and faced with a mountain of evidence, sings like a canary. He implicates everyone he can to save himself, a frantic act of self-preservation that only drags him deeper into the mire. He details the kickback schemes, the buried evidence, the network of favors and threats that kept the machinery of injustice running smoothly. His cooperation earns him nothing. The U.S. attorney, a woman with a reputation for being relentless, makes an example of him. He is the poster boy for abuse of power. She paints a picture of a man who preyed on the weakest, a man who saw his uniform not as a symbol of public trust, but as a license for cruelty. He is convicted on all counts. The judge, a stern, no-nonsense woman brought in from another district, delivers the sentence with unconcealed disgust. Dale Corman is sentenced to 15 years in a federal penitentiary. Not a low-security club fed, but a medium-security facility known for housing violent offenders. The very people he once lorded over are now his peers. His pension is seized. His house is sold to pay the hefty fines levied against him. His family, ashamed and bankrupted, quietly leaves town. His name becomes a cautionary tale whispered in police academies, a synonym for the career suicide of arrogance. His destruction is total. But the demolition does not stop with him. His direct supervisor, a lazy sergeant who ignored dozens of complaints against Corman over the years, is fired for gross negligence and faces his own charges for obstruction. He pleads out, receiving 5 years probation and losing his pension. He ends up working as a night watchman at a self-storage facility, a lonely king of a kingdom of cardboard boxes. The ripples reach the judiciary. Judge Thompson, the man whose chaotic docket had made Sarah Jenkins late, is implicated in a case-fixing scandal uncovered by the investigation. The evidence shows he accepted gifts from a wealthy real estate developer in exchange for favorable rulings in zoning disputes. He is forced to resign in disgrace, disbarred, and serves 3 years in prison. 17 of his previous rulings are overturned, freeing 2 men who were wrongfully convicted. The entire courthouse is cleaned out. New procedures are implemented. Mandatory body cameras for all security personnel. A simplified and transparent public complaints process. A civilian oversight committee. The mustard-colored walls are repainted a clean, bright white. The river of misery begins to flow a little clearer, a little faster. The heroes of the story find their own rewards. Sarah Jenkins, as promised, accepts the position as head of the new Public Integrity Unit. Funded by the Department of Justice, she is given a team of investigators and the resources she needs to be the lawyer she always wanted to be. She becomes a fierce advocate for the powerless, a dragon slayer in the very halls where she was once a mouse. Her name becomes synonymous with hope for those caught in the system's gears. Leo Thorne's life changes profoundly. The bogus charge for the overdue library book is, of course, expunged with a formal apology from the city librarian. The media attention from his father's dramatic intervention is intense, but Marcus shields him from the worst of it. A civil rights organization sets up a college scholarship fund in Leo's name, the Leo Thorne Speak Out Grant, designated for students with speech impediments who wish to pursue careers in law or advocacy. The trauma of the event does not simply vanish. Marcus enrolls him in therapy with the best speech pathologist in the state. Slowly, painstakingly, Leo begins to reclaim his voice. He learns techniques to manage his stutter, but more importantly, he learns that his voice is worth hearing, no matter how it comes out. The shame Corman tried to brand him with is replaced by a quiet, resilient pride. And Marcus Thorne. He is offered a promotion, a desk job in Washington, D.C., a fast track to leadership. He turns it down. He requests to stay in the Merrill County field office, where he takes over a new initiative he designed himself, a community outreach program connecting the U.S. Marshal's service with local youth groups. He wants to rebuild the trust that men like Corman shattered. He wants to ensure that no child ever looks at a uniform and sees only a threat. His actions have not just punished the guilty, they have created a foundation for a better future. The system is not perfect, but a significant cancer has been excised. The demolition is complete, and now, the rebuilding can truly begin. 2 years later. The air is warm, filled with the scent of cut grass and barbecue. It is a Saturday afternoon at a community center in a part of town that the Merrill County Courthouse used to chew up and spit out. Today, the center is vibrant with life. Kids are playing basketball, music is playing from a small speaker, and families are gathered on picnic blankets. At a podium set up on the lawn, a young man is speaking. He is tall now, and confident. He has filled out the frame that was once swallowed by a borrowed suit. It is Leo Thorne. He is addressing a group of teenagers, part of a new mentorship program. My voice, Leo begins, and there is a slight, almost imperceptible hesitation on the first word. A ghost of the old stutter. But he does not flinch from it. He owns it. Is not always perfect. Sometimes the words get stuck. Sometimes they come out in a rush. But they are my words. And they matter. He smiles, a bright, easy smile that reaches his eyes. And so do yours. Don't ever let anyone, no matter how loud they are, no matter what uniform they wear, make you believe that your voice doesn't matter. Because it does. The teenagers listen, rapt. They see not a victim, but a leader. Standing at the back of the crowd, leaning against a tree, is Marcus Thorne. He is not in uniform today. He is just in a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. He is not a marshal. He is just a father. He watches his son, and a profound sense of peace settles over him. This is victory. Not the dramatic arrest in the hallway, not the prison sentences, not the newspaper headlines. This. A boy finding his voice. A community finding its strength. The new reality is quieter than the old one, but infinitely more powerful. It is a reality built not on fear and dominance, but on respect and resilience. The world is full of trolls under bridges, men like Dale Corman who derive their sense of self from the belittling of others. They build their petty kingdoms on foundations of prejudice and arrogance. They believe their authority makes them untouchable. But they forget one crucial thing. Arrogance is a blindfold. It prevents them from seeing the person in front of them. It makes them underestimate the quiet father, the overwhelmed lawyer, the terrified boy. And in that underestimation lies their ruin. Because sometimes, the person you dismiss is the very one with the power to tear your whole world down. Justice is not always loud. Sometimes, it arrives silently, dressed in a plain black polo shirt, and waits patiently for you to hang yourself with your own words. Marcus watches his son finish his speech to a round of applause. Leo steps down from the podium and is immediately surrounded by other kids, laughing and talking. He belongs. He is whole. Marcus pushes himself off the tree and walks over, not to his son, but to the woman standing nearby, the one who organized the event. Sarah Jenkins, now a respected and formidable attorney, greets him with a warm handshake. "He's a natural," she says, nodding toward Leo. "He found his voice," Marcus replies, a hint of pride in his own. "We all did," she says. "Thanks to you." Marcus shakes his head. "No. It wasn't you all along. It just needed a chance to be heard." He looks out over the scene, the community thriving in the afternoon sun. The courthouse, miles away, feels like a distant memory, a bad dream from another lifetime. The fight is never truly over. There will always be other Cormans, other broken systems. But today, in this small corner of the world, the good guys won. They won completely. And that is a story worth telling. The memory of that day in the hallway remains sharp, a fixed point in time. Marcus often replays the sequence of events, not out of pride, but as a reminder. A reminder of how close things came to a different outcome. If he had been 5 minutes later. If his instincts had not screamed at him to go early. If Corman had chosen a different target that day. Leo would have been processed by a system that was predisposed to find him guilty. The clerical error about the library book might have been buried under a pile of real cases. The public defender, intimidated and overwhelmed, might have advised him to take a plea deal for something he did not do, just to make it all go away. A small, dark mark would have been placed on his record before he had even finished high school, a mark that could follow him for the rest of his life. That is how injustice works most of the time. Not with a bang, but with the quiet shuffling of papers, the weary sighs of overworked officials, and the casual cruelty of a man on a stool. The intervention was not just about punishing one man. It was about stopping that quiet, insidious process in its tracks. It was about making a sound so loud that no one could ignore it. The changes in the courthouse were not just cosmetic. The new oversight committee, on which Sarah Jenkins now serves, has real teeth. They review every public complaint, audit random case files, and have the authority to suspend officers pending investigation. The culture of fear that Corman cultivated has been replaced by one of accountability. The other officers, seeing the swift and total destruction of their colleague, have fallen in line. Some transferred out. Others retired early. The ones who remained walk a little straighter, speak a little more respectfully. They know they are being watched. The federal presence in the county did not vanish after the investigation. Marcus, through his outreach program, has become a familiar face in the community. He runs workshops for teenagers about their rights. He partners with schools to create pathways to careers in law enforcement for kids from underserved neighborhoods. He is actively working to recruit officers who look like the people they are supposed to be protecting. He is not just policing, he is building bridges. The same bridges that men like Corman tried to burn down. Leo's journey continues. He has decided he wants to be a lawyer. Not a prosecutor or a corporate attorney, but a public defender. He wants to be the person he needed in that hallway. He wants to stand beside the scared, the overwhelmed, the voiceless, and lend them his strength. His stutter is still there. On bad days, it is a frustrating barrier. But he no longer sees it as a weakness. He now calls it his filter. It forces him to slow down, to choose his words carefully, to speak with intention and precision. He is learning to turn what was once a source of shame into a source of power. One evening, months after the incident, Marcus finds Leo in the living room, practicing a speech in front of a mirror. He is preparing for a debate club competition. Marcus leans against the doorframe, listening. Leo's delivery is passionate, his arguments are sharp, and while he stumbles over a few words, he never loses his momentum. He pushes through, his determination clear. When he finishes, he sees his father's reflection in the mirror. "How was it?" Leo asks, a little breathless. "It was perfect," Marcus says, and his voice is thick with an emotion he rarely shows. I still get stuck sometimes," Leo admits, looking down. "Son," Marcus says, walking into the room. "The strongest walls are built from the stones that people threw at you. That man in the courthouse, he threw a stone at you. He tried to build a wall of shame around you. But you didn't let him." He puts a hand on his son's shoulder. "You took that stone, and you're using it to build your own foundation. There is nothing more powerful than that." Leo looks at his father, at the men who can be as cold as a glacier and as warm as the sun. He understands, now, that both are part of the same person. The protector. The father. The final piece of the fallout comes a year after Corman's sentencing. A letter arrives at the Thorne household. It is from the federal penitentiary in West Virginia. It is from Dale Corman. Marcus reads it alone in his study. The letter is a pathetic, rambling mess. It is filled with self-pity, with excuses, with blame for everyone but himself. He complains about the food, the guards, the other inmates. He insists he was a good officer, that he was just having a bad day. But at the very end, on the last page, there is a single sentence that is different. The handwriting is shaky, as if it took a great effort to write. "Tell your boy I'm sorry." Marcus folds the letter and puts it in a drawer. He does not know if the apology is genuine or just another desperate ploy from a broken man. It does not matter. He never shows the letter to Leo. Corman's apology is not for them. It is for him. His healing, his penance, is his own journey. The Thornes have already moved on. Their justice was not about getting an apology. It was about ensuring that no one else would ever need one from Dale Corman again. The story of that day becomes a local legend, told and retold in the courthouse hallways, in barbershops, and over dinner tables. The details get exaggerated over time. Marcus becomes 10 feet tall. The badge glows with an otherworldly light. Corman is said to have fainted on the spot. But the core of the story, the essential truth of it, remains. It is a story about the arrogance of power and the power of quiet strength. It is a reminder that you never truly know who you are talking to. The man you mock for his cheap suit could own the company. The woman you dismiss as a helpless victim could be a world-class martial artist. And the father of the boy whose stutter you find so amusing might just be a deputy United States Marshal who has been watching you for months, waiting for you to make one final, fatal mistake. It is a story that gives a little bit of hope to everyone who has ever felt small and powerless in the face of a cold and uncaring system. It is a promise, however faint, that sometimes, the trolls under the bridge get exactly what they deserve.